But why spend millions on an old Ferrari when you can buy a new one, which is arguably better engineered, probably laps faster than the GTO, and costs only £100,000?
Could we stay right here till the end of time? Earth stops turning. Wanna love you till the seas run dry.
The 360 Modena, which you place 6th in your top 10 favourite Ferraris, is also one of my favourites. And here's why. People think of Italian supercars as big, beefy beasts that you have to be a hero to drive, but the 360 just isn't like that. It's beautifully balanced, so anyone can jump in and have a go. And if you want a little bit of fun, well, that does take a bit more skill. But it's so beautifully balanced, I can just play with it like that, balancing it between the spinning rear wheels and the opposite lock. That's what you want for driver satisfaction. Obviously, I get to drive lots of fabulous cars in my job. But even then, some of them, well, you've sort of had enough of them after a day or two. Good they may be, but in the end, they're just another car. The Ferrari is a totally different thing. It's something I just want to drive all day long because it just never ceases to lose the smile on my face.
So, Tiff, sounds nice, goes sideways really well.
Sounds nice, it's beautiful. I mean, look at the engine sitting there just waiting to be driven. It's fabulous.
Well, no, I mean, all the Premiership footballers have them. It's a bit, you know, common.
Look, yes, they can afford them, and it's all about it's an affordable Ferrari. Just because it's common doesn't mean to say it's not wonderful to drive.
No, it's the motoring equivalent of having a gold tooth.
No, look, just so you want all Ferraris to cost millions so only rock stars can buy them.
Well, they should be dream vehicles.
I want to dream about it. I want to drive one. This is a fight to be
Join us after the break when it gets even better. We'll be revealing your top 5 favourite Ferraris.
Welcome back to the nation's favourite Ferraris. In the countdown, you put the Dino at 10. At 9 was the P4. The California Spider came in at 8. The 250 GTO was number 7. And you put my favourite, the 360, in at 6. So what's at number 5?
Once upon a time, some blokes who built tractors decided to take on Ferrari and build a supercar. That supercar was the Lamborghini Miura. Now, the chaps down at Maranello thought that a mid-engined car was a bit nouveau, so they hit back and produced yet another brand new front-engined rear-drive GT. Say hello to the 365 GTB4.
Well, actually, Vix, that name was tediously long, so everyone called it the Daytona, because Ferrari had just won 1, 2, 3 in the famous race.
She's enough to make you want to choke on your chips. Styled by a guy called Leonardo Fioravanti at Pininfarina, and I still think we ought to build a small church and worship him as an automotive god. There's so many complex curves, so much neatness in the detail that the whole thing had to be hand-beaten on a wooden truck. There are no sheet pressings in a Daytona. She's a very high-maintenance mistress.
Inside, I think it's about the coolest car I've ever seen. I know it looks a bit mad with all these dials everywhere, but it still makes you want to smoke out the side of your mouth and speak with an Italian accent. Bella macchina, ciao bella. But there is one thing I've just got to show you.
Check this out, my friends. It is a 4.4-litre
V12 running on carburettors. And in the days of plastic engine covers, an engine with all its guts on display is...
She actually handles quite well in the context of how old she is. But this steering's really, really heavy. It'll build your arms up no end, and the clutch you really have to push down quite hard. It's also, you can see out over that massively long bonnet, and you find out that it's got no bumpers, so it's not really a town car, but it's at its best on the open road. God, this is an effort.
But heavy steering or not, the movie set loved them. James Garner ran a 73 Coupe, Sonny and Cher had a Spider. Well, they were cool back then. The Daytona was conspicuous consumption for the free love generation.
And at 174 miles an hour, it was also the fastest production car in the world. But 20 years later, this was the fastest production car in the world, the 201 mile an hour F40. Built to celebrate 40 years of Ferrari, it was the last to be signed off by Enzo just a year before he died. And at £200,000, it was the most expensive new Ferrari yet, which seems a bit cheeky when you look up close, because it all seems, well, rather basic. But then that didn't worry Enzo, because what he wanted from what would turn out to be his last supercar was a racing car experience for the road. It's about as totally opposite to the 360 as you can imagine. It's really crude. You can see the bare carbon fibre monocoque. I've got a great seat and racing seat belts, but the steering wheel's all canted away at the top. The pedals are offset. It's a real old-fashioned Ferrari. But behind me, I know there's nearly 500 horsepower to be unleashed. Just driving at 3,000 RPM, it's like a shopping car. It's got no fear factor at all, but I know that if I light up those turbos, it's going to explode onto the straight. And there's no lag, there's no sudden surge of power, it's just instantly there. The chassis seems really instantly inspiring, it sits steady, there's no roll, it's got real Ferrari racing car breeding. Heavy brake pedal, no assistance, as there isn't with the steering either. There's no power help for you in this Ferrari. Turn into this tighter corner, will it slide or won't it? How much power can I feed in? Now, God, Tim, give it a bit more. Now that back's trying to wriggle away from me. But you can feel it beginning to go and just attack the opposite lock. It's not the sort of car you feel you want to allow to go big sideways. If we did that, it's going to be gone.